Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to the second day of the Awakened Vision Challenge. Yes, I'm so excited to read this second chapter of my book, Built by Him. I think the mirror is mirroring it backwards, but that's okay. The Awakened Vision Challenge. As everyone is coming in, do let me know where are you tuning in from. And remember that tonight is not just about another live that we're doing, but this challenge is to awaken the blueprint that is already inside you. So for the next couple minutes that we're together, come with the expectation that the Lord is going to do something amazing among us. Hi, welcome everyone. I can't really see who's watching or what's going on, but just let me know where you are tuning in from. We're gonna get started shortly. I just wanna give a little bit of time before we start reading this first chapter of my book and talking about the blueprint of building your vision with God. Hello, hi Kevin, welcome. Where are you joining from? Awesome. I'm so excited. So yesterday, what I pretty much did was, and for those of you who are just joining, my name is Marie. I am the founder of Melanin Soul Media, and I created this platform as a home for people with a vision, people who have a dream, a desire, a calling on their lives, but are living right now in the evidence, what I call the evidence gap. And that means that you're in the in-between. It's not that you don't know that you're not gonna get there. It's not that you doubt you're gonna get there, but the journey is hard. And if we don't have the proper mindset, if we don't understand the method that God uses to bring about the vision that we have in our minds, we can get discouraged. We can abandon the journey before we even see the full manifestation of how God wants to express himself through us. So I'm doing this challenge because I believe that there's no reason to withhold your gifts. If God has given you something, it will make space for you. So I am not feeling any type of way. I'm excited to read this and just create an environment where we're able to build together. So let's get started. Yesterday, I spoke about the foreword and how my pastor, they wrote the foreword, and it was about how when you're building something from a vision, and that word vision is a clear picture of where you see yourself. And a vision that you have, it usually comes from a desire that you have. And that desire, I call it God trying to express something through you, right? Some people call it a higher power. Some people call it higher intelligence, or whatever you want to call it. It's God, okay? Trying to express something through you, and you were meant to create it. You were meant to build it, and that is what I believe. And we were talking about how building something from a vision, it takes a lot of faith, right? It takes a lot of understanding, dedication, and wisdom and timing, and the ability to forsake all physical evidence for what you know in your mind. Because at the end of the day, it is your physical reality that conforms to what you believe in your mind, not the other way around. So I'm excited. Thank you again for being here, and of course, just let me know where you are watching from, and yeah, let's start a conversation around this. I'll be live for the next 10 days. So we're going to be back here until we get to the end of the chapter. So for the next 10 days, I'm going to be coming on here and reading. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to read first. And then I've highlighted some points that I want to bring to you guys. I believe that I can stop the music now because I feel like I feel like it's making me project my voice more than I want to. But let's go ahead and get started. So this is introduction, actually. It's not chapter 1. We're getting started with the introduction. We'll take it from there. Again, this is my book, Built by Him. How to discover the blueprint to build your vision with God. A young man once saw a rich man and with great enthusiasm said, "You are so rich. I wish I could be like you one day." The rich man, full of compassion, replied, "What if I told you that you are already rich? In fact, I'll show you where the richest people, richer than me, live." He led the young man down the street and stopped at a cemetery. The young man looked puzzled. The rich man explained, "In this place lies entrepreneurs, authors, teachers, creators, doctors, people who carried ideas, visions, and dreams that never came to pass. They were too afraid. They didn't know how to build their dream. And when it got difficult, some gave up. So they took their riches with them to the grave." This story makes us pause and ask, why do so many shrink back from their God-given vision? Why does a teacher who dreams of opening a bakery never take the leap? Why does a professional halfway through their master's degree never finish? Why does a high school student from a less advantageous background never attend or finish college? The answer is often fear of failure, the unknown, rejection, or unworthiness. The question that we must ask ourselves, and maybe some of you have felt this way: I have so many ideas, but I don't know if they're even connected or even possible. How do I know if my vision is from God or just me? I don't want to be put in a box, but I also wonder, is this all there is to life? Can I do what I love and serve God even if I'm not called within the church walls? If you ever thought about these things, you're not alone. But I'm here today to share with you the good news. What if I told you that God, by His Spirit, showed me a truth so simple yet so profound that it shifted my mindset from "I can't do it all" to "I've already been empowered"? "I don't know what to do" to "I'm ready to step into who I'm meant to be." "I am not worthy. I've already been made worthy." This truth, it comes through a simple picture: building a house. Psalms 127 says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain." Your house is your dream, vision, purpose, or calling. And just like a physical building, there are phases that we must walk through with God when building anything that will pass the test of fire. I wrote this book to help you understand how to build your house with God and not just for God. My prayer is that you use the following mindset, method, and perspective to build the life, the business, the relationships that you envision, but can't seem to grasp the blueprint. This house method is your blueprint. The master architect wants to build with you. Are you ready to build with him? The method that I'm sharing with you tonight and for the next couple of days is not theory. It's my story. Melanin Media, as you all see it here, was born from a vision that God placed on my heart in 2020 to create a space for those who know they are called for more, to find clarity, deepen their perspective, and take aligned action towards the life that they were designed to build. But the actions weren't always aligned with the vision. For years, I tried rebranding, fasting, praying, collaborating, yet saw no real progress. I couldn't understand why the dream God placed in me wasn't working. I started questioning my ability to hear from God, whether I should even trust His guidance, and I almost gave up. What happened next can only be explained by recognizing that it was His divine guidance which revealed this truth. It wasn't until my pastor shared a teaching by Robert Henderson about the courts of heaven that God revealed the enemy was using a legal right against me through what I had once spoken and attached to the ministry. And by the Holy Spirit's guidance, I repented, broke the attachment, and declared freedom. That very night, God gave me the vision of this teaching, the house concept. And within hours, I wrote what I'm sharing with you now. This process taught me something important. Building with God using this house method is not a formula to avoid challenges or a path to building your dreams faster, but it is a mindset, a method, a perspective that keeps you moving forward, even when the journey is arduous. The mindset is the perspective of your soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. First, I want to establish this truth. You are worthy, and God has called you to build with Him. Your house may look different than what is around you. It may be bigger than anyone in your family, but just because you haven't seen it before, it doesn't mean that you weren't meant to build it. I always say, if you can think it, and you can't find it, you are meant to create it. The method is a process God uses to piece things together. At first, it may feel like madness, but there is a method. God takes your gifts, your experiences, and your passions and shows you how they fit together as part of His design for your life. Perspective is what keeps you going. With perspective, you don't give up when challenges, delays, or setbacks comes your way. Instead, you remember your past skills and even your struggles. They all play a bigger part in the bigger picture God has placed on your heart. I leave you with a question. Are you ready to build your house with the Lord? Your dreams, your visions, your ideas aren't random thoughts. They are blueprints God placed in you. And when you build with Him, you won't just start, you'll finish. So that was the introduction. Again, setting the foundation of the introduction of everything that I would be talking about in the book. And I want to go through this, and I'm just going to share as I'm led to share with each thing, and we're going to see where this goes. Again, let's start with this analogy of this rich man that I use to talk about how the cemetery is the richest place. I am a firm believer, and I think this will be my gospel, that every single person in this world carries something that they're meant to create. Now, it does not have to mean success in the way that this world tells us that we're successful. I like this definition of success. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So that means success means whatever it means to you. Don't make success about what society should be. Do not make success about what other people say you should be. What do you want? What do you want to create? What do you want to build? What do you want to do with your life? I know as soon as I ask that question, you're thinking about, I want to do X, Y, but what? Of course, there's always going to be barriers. There's always going to be obstacles that comes your way when you're building anything worthwhile, but it does not mean that you weren't meant to build it. I realized that in the pursuit of building anything worthwhile, when you go through any type of obstacle or challenge or defeat, quote unquote, what is actually being worked on is the visionary, the person that is carrying the vision. I'll use myself as an example. For a long time, I've known that I've been called to media. So that would be the vision, right? But there was so many things that the Lord had to work on me on. I had false confidence. I was so afraid of people. Interestingly enough, I was so afraid to be seen. And so the vision of what God had told me in my heart did not change. But what needed to change was me. And I say that to say a lot of the times when it comes to something that we want to achieve, it's not that, whether it's been, I know it sounds crazy, but whether it's been 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, if you haven't reached your vision, don't change it. Change the way that you're pursuing it. Change you. Because this is where you want to go. This is where you are, for example. Your vision is not going to come down to you. You're going to rise to your vision. I heard this quote that says that we were created in God's image, but somewhere along the line, we got it mixed up and we started creating God in our image. I mean, that's what it feels like sometimes, because if we're created in the image of God, that means that we were meant to create. You were meant to create, I was meant to create, but somewhere along the lines, we've gotten complacent with just thinking that there's this deity in the sky that wants us to be limited in some way, shape, or form. I respectfully do not believe that. God is an abundant God. He is expressing himself in so many different facets and ways, and I believe that it is his will for you to express the desire that he placed inside of you. So let's go to the questions that I wrote here, and I just wanted to do a back and forth of answering these questions. Why do so many of us shrink from their God-given vision? Whether it is a vision to build a business, to be a wife, to start a ministry, I don't know what your vision is. But why do you shrink back from it? And I do give the answer here that it's often fear. We have fear of failure. We have fear of people. The acronym that they use for fear is false evidence appearing real, but I call it future events appearing real. Before we start a business, we're thinking about all the ways that we're gonna fail. Before we do anything, it's always just this voice and chatter in the back of our minds telling us all the reasons that we can't. So we shrink back, we live an average life, and then we say, God, yeah, I know that you want to use this person, but you're not using me. And we become content with living below the fullness of the capacity that we can. Now, I'm not saying here that everybody has to reach the capacity, but I do believe that everybody has a capacity that they can go towards. We have unlimited capacity, okay, to do what we have been called to do, but I do believe as a person is able to, they should reach for the fullness of whatever God has called them to do. And of course, right here, I go into the question of why does a teacher who dreams of opening up a bakery never take a leap? I intentionally put this concept here of a teacher who wants to open up a bakery because when we're talking about vision, it's not just building $1 million business. It's not just having a 7-figure income. It's not just being a multi-millionaire. I'm talking about anyone who wants to do something in your life. Why are you not doing it? Whatever that reason is, it's not a reason. Every barrier can be broken. Every obstacle can be removed. We just have to know that there is a blueprint. There is a blueprint foundationally to building a mansion. There is a blueprint foundationally to building a single family home. All right, although you'll have many designs of it, there's foundationally a blueprint on how to build it, and there's foundationally a blueprint on how to build your vision. I digress. I'm passionate about this, okay? Well, so why does a professional halfway to the master's degree never finish their degree? You may have started something and you haven't finished it. Why is that? Why does a high school student from a less advantageous background never attend or finish college? Because they've never seen anybody else in it. Is that really a reason? Or should that really be a barrier? If the person so chooses to desire that they want to do that. And so I want to leave a couple reflection questions about maybe you felt this way, that you have so many ideas. I know me, I am an idea person. I have so many ideas in my head. I have no problems coming up with ideas. But sometimes I was wondering back then, are these ideas even connected? Or am I just making stuff up? I want you to know that ideas are consistently going to be coming to you, and unless you act on them, they're gonna go to somewhere else. Now, this is not just to say that it wasn't meant for you, but it's something that wants to be expressed. And imagine that whatever is wanting to be expressed, you keep suppressing it, you keep pushing it. I don't know if this has ever happened to anybody else, but have you ever had an idea about something and next thing you know, you see it somewhere and you're like, that was my idea. I thought about that. So right now, you're thinking about something, but somebody in China who doesn't even speak your language is thinking about the same idea. Why? Because ideas are something that's pretty much up in the air for someone to grab. And by God's mercy, I think sometimes he just keeps knocking on the same door, the door of your heart, saying, hey, I want you to build this thing. Hey, I want you to go back to school. Hey, I want you to be a millionaire. I want you to be the first person in your family to get married. I want you to do whatever. And you keep saying no. Or you keep denying God. I hope and I pray that that comes to an end, because you will be able to unlock the blueprint that is necessary to build what you've been called to build. How do you know if your vision is from God or just yourself? Well, you can test it by the foundation. I will admit humbly that there's been ideas where I thought it was from God, but respectfully speaking, it was just my flesh. It was my pride. And once I ran it against now what I call my vision plan of action, it wasn't really a good idea. It wasn't really a God idea, it was my idea. But what I want you to know is, I think we make a God-given vision or a God-given idea this big thing, or this thing that is outside of something that we can understand. But any idea that's meant for expansion, that's meant for the greater good of yourself, those who you surround yourself with in the world, is a God idea. But when it's your idea, it's just about you. It's just about what you can get out of it and taking away from others. Obviously, you can just tell right there that's not a vision or an idea that's from God, because it's just about you. It's selfish. I'll get into that into a different time. And maybe you thought that you don't want to be put into a box, but you also wonder, is this all that there is to life? I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. I did not want to be put into a box of saying that I needed to do X, Y, and Z because of whatever followed that. Meaning that I didn't want the outside to be dictating what I get to do. Because a lot of people, they'll look at you and they'll assume that you're X, Y, and Z. Or they'll look at you and they'll assume that you don't have higher education or you're never gonna get far in life. So I didn't want to be put in a box of anything, but I also wondered most of my life, is this all that there is to life? Just going to work, just going to church, okay? Just getting by. Is this all that there is to life? Or is there an abundance of a life that I have not experienced before? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is an abundance to this life that you have not experienced before that is waiting for you. And that is waiting for you to discover it. And this one is my favorite one here. Can I do what I love and serve God even if I'm not called within the church walls? To be called by God does not mean you have to be a pastor. It does not mean you have to be a preacher. It does not mean you have to live a priestly life. God can use you in the secular world. He can use you in the music industry. He can use you in finance and business, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the industry you can think of, God can use you in that industry. So you don't have to limit yourself. You don't have to separate loving God and doing this thing that you love to do. There's a way to bring those things together into the will of however God has called you to do it. Now, the mindset of what I'm sharing with you, which is the house method, this is what shifted everything for me from thinking that I can't do everything that I'm seeing in my mind. There's no way that I'm called to do all these things to, there's a blueprint to this and it's already been done. I'm literally just walking out the blueprint. And granted, glory to God, it is being revealed more and more every day. I will not say I walk a perfect journey of saying that I've arrived, but more and more the Lord is revealing the bigger blueprint of things that has already been established. That's a different teaching for a different time. So, who did I write this book for? I wrote this book to help you understand how to build with God and not just for God. Because this Psalms here, in Psalms 127, says, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. You can build something that looks so beautiful on the outside. You can build something that looks so glorious. Yet, there's going to come a time when life comes, the storms of life comes, and it's going to have to reveal what you're building your house on. Again, whenever I bring about the concept of a house, I want you to think of whatever dream that you have. I want you to think of whatever vision or purpose or calling that you have on your life. And again, like a physical house, there are phases that this journey, that this vision must go through. And I don't want you to give up just because maybe you're at the foundational phase. The foundational phase is the ugliest phase that nobody wants to go through. Nobody wants to see it because foundationally speaking, it's not pretty. You're being dug up, your land is being cleared, God is removing all of the characters that is not going to carry you where you're going. Maybe you're in the structures part. God is telling you to build structures around what you want to build. You're building a business, okay, what is the structure that you're going to need to implement in order to do that? What is the structure of a life of a lawyer? What is the structure of a life of an artist? What is the structure of a life of an entrepreneur? Those are all structures. You've passed the foundation, you're in the structure, and maybe it's taking a little bit longer than you want it to be, but you're about to give up. No, don't give up. It's done. You're in the structure phase and it's a blueprint. Maybe you're now installing walls. You're installing doors and windows. Doors represents opportunities, and windows represents perspective and where you want to go. Okay? Maybe you're in the part now where you just need the grace. This is what I call the roof. You can build whatever you're building. You have a strong foundation. But have you ever seen a house without a roof? On a rainy day, what's going to happen? It's going to be flooded. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be flooded. So, it's a new concept. But I just love how learn can just be shifted into a new way, into where it doesn't take away the essence of it, but it shows us things in a different way. So the next time that you kind of get discouraged in building what you're building, say in your mind, say to yourself, I am building a house. By the time you get ready to see anything being built, they're not starting to build it, it's already done. Whether a rainy day comes, whether certain agendas fall back, the engineer doesn't get discouraged. The builders doesn't get discouraged. They have a blueprint. They know what they're building. So it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time until you see the manifestation of everything that you've had in your mind. And my vision and my goal as your vision architect is to give you the blueprint on how to keep going despite the evidence that says otherwise. So again, now building with God using this house method, because the house method is a method. It's a way that you would go about building things, among other things that you could implement with it as well. It's not for you to avoid challenges, because it would be easier to say I have a solution that's going to help you overcome everything, but that's not a promising thing to say. It's necessary. The obstacles and challenges are necessary. They're meant to refine you and build you into the person who's meant to carry the vision that you are building. Now, here are 3 foundational things that are important when it comes to building anything: your mindset, your method, and your perspective. Mindset is the foundational. Let me say it this way. Mindset is the foundation of foundations. Because what your mindset is when going into anything is going to dictate how you go into it. Mindset is attitude. Mindset is your soul. It is your mind. It is your will. It is your emotions. That's why on this book, you'll notice it's intentional that the foundation is highlighted in gold to indicate that it is the most important thing. Foundation of mindset is the most important thing when you're building something. And I believe the greatest teacher of all of mindset is Jesus. The greatest teacher of all of mindset, no matter how many psychology books I read, all of the great self-developments or anything like that, it is Jesus who holds the mindset of this intelligence that we know, this power that we know. We needed to know it in a physical way, and Jesus is that mindset. Then you have the method. The method is about the process that pieces things together. So think of the house method as a method. It is a method. The house method is a method in which you use to be able to piece things together. Sometimes it feels like your gifts, your experiences, your passion has no relation to where you're going. But I want you to know that everything is not wasted. There's nothing that you went through that is wasted. It's all a matter of seeing how those pieces fit together in the greater scheme of things of where you're going. But the method, although it may feel like madness, it's going to be used in such a way that you're going to say, wow, I now see how all of this fits together to the greater design of the life that I'm building. Now, of course, we know that there's not only one method to doing anything. I'm not going to say that I found a method that is the only method. I'm saying that this is a method that you apply in conjunction with other methods that is unique to the blueprint of what you're building. Because when you think of the house method now, everything gives you a different perspective on how to view what you're building. Even, like I said, as setbacks come, as delays come, you're going to be able to see it in a different type of way. And then perspective. Perspective is actually different than mindset, because your mindset will dictate how you see perspective. Perspective is what you choose to focus on. It's what you choose by the power of your will to say you're going to focus on, regardless of what is going on around you. It's what keeps you going, even when you have delays, challenges, or setback that comes your way. And we all know that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So I leave you all, visionaries. I leave you all with a question. Are you ready? Are you ready to build your house with the Lord? Your dreams, your visions, your ideas, those things are not random. I want you to know that there are blueprints that God placed within you. And when you build with Him, you won't just start, you'll finish. A vision can feel big, but that's because you don't have the blueprint. But I want you to find that blueprint. And that blueprint has already been established. So let's keep going on this journey. There's still many things to talk about as we have different chapters to go into, and it's gonna get into some deep stuff. I'm naturally a deep thinker, so I'm just letting you know now, we're not gonna get into no light stuff. This is not light content. If you like deep-minded things, then this is the right place for you, friends. So just to sum up then, what we spoke about tonight was the introduction of why do so many of us shrink back from our God-given vision, and how then do we take that vision and go from vision to reality. My focus is not so much on the vision. My focus is more on those of you who are in between what I call the evidence gap. So this is your vision, this is you. Here is the in between that every single person must go through. Some of us go through it more gracefully than others, but I will not sit here and lie. My journey has been really hard. And I'm sure many of you can relate to that. Well, if that's been you, then come along this journey with me and let's figure out, let's build using the blueprint that has already been established for us. It's been a pleasure having every one of you join. I will be here again tomorrow at 8 p.m. reading chapter 2. I lied. Reading chapter 1 because I read the forward and our introduction. Reading chapter 1, Unless the Lord Builds a House. Feel free when you come on next time to comment and talk with me. Don't be shy. And like I said, as more people do come on and things of that nature, we'll start a conversation. But for now, I hope you all have a great night and you stay blessed. And I'll see you. Bye.